In the early 1960s, India was a nation brimming with hope and ambition. Having gained independence just over a decade earlier, the country was in the throes of defining its identity on the global stage. The year 1963 marked a period of significant transformation. The Indian economy, still in its nascent stages, was grappling with the challenges of establishing a robust industrial base while striving to uplift millions from poverty. The demographic landscape of India was diverse and dynamic. With a population of over 450 million, the majority of whom lived in rural areas, the country was categorized by a youthful exuberance and collective aspiration for progress. The spirit of self-reliance was palpable, driven by the memories of colonial exploitation and a fervent desire to build a self-sustaining economy.
It's very interesting to see that at a time when India was a protected economy, there was a thought in the government that let there be an institute which carries out research and help the government in policy formulation for the external sector. And that's how it came. This institute came into existence in 1963.
Internationally, India was navigating the complexities of global trade with a cautious yet optimistic approach. The nation's trade policies were heavily influenced by protectionism, aimed at nurturing domestic industries. However, the need for a more strategic engagement with global markets was becoming increasingly evident. Policymakers were acutely aware of the necessity to enhance India's trade capabilities to foster economic growth and development. It was against this backdrop that the Indian Institute of Foreign Trade (IIFT) was established on the 2nd of May 1963 as a society under the Societies Registration Act. Conceived as a think tank for the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, IIFT's primary mission was to train and skill foreign service officers and other personnel involved in international trade. IIFT was originally located in Friends Colony in Delhi on a rented campus. It had two separate buildings, each dedicated for research and academics respectively. The first ever course at IIFT was Techniques of International Marketing. In November 1964, it was launched for a duration of 4 weeks to a batch of 39 participants from diverse backgrounds like industry and trade, Ministry of Commerce, Trade Commissioners' offices, government trading corporations, state governments, etc. The set of recruiters at IIFT included companies like Godrej and Boyce, the then Imperial Tobacco Company of India Limited, Kirloskar Oil Engines Limited, etc.
Yes, for a good number of years, rather 2.5 decades virtually, IFT was in rented places.
In 1967, the first batch of IIFT was enrolled into a year-long course called the Diploma Course for Foreign Trade. 33 students were taught by a staff of around 15 teachers. International training programs with participants from fellow developing countries of the Asian and African continent took part. The Government of India extended the offer of fellowship to many participants. In 1968, special training courses began for Indian Foreign Service officers and the nominees of PSUs, something that continues till date. These programs were developed at the request of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The first batch composed of 22 officers, and the strengths have been growing since.
Very illustrious professors who later went on to do many things in life, bigger things in life. We had Professor Dr. Rajiv Kumar, went on to become the chairperson of the Niti Aayog. We had Professor Vivek Debroy, still part of the Prime Minister's Economic Council.
From 1983 to 94, the Institute received an opportunity of becoming a consultant to IDRC, Canada, on a study of trade channels, which functioned as a major step towards the development of an institutional framework for cooperation in South Asia. The study taken over by IIFT proved to be a precursor to the subsequent formation of SAARC in December 1985. Before the 1980s, the focus of the institution was trade only, but globalization resulted in a large number of MNCs entering the market with new technologies that changed the way business is done. The institute realized the need to diversify and grow beyond its specialization. In 1985, IIFT started a flagship 2-year master's program in international business, now known as the MBA in International Business. Till now, 39 batches have passed through this program, creating more than 5,720 professionals who are adding value to the industry in diverse sectors.
What I discovered in IIFT was that most of my batchmates were people who came with a lot of work experience. I mean, they were people with 3, 4, 5 years back experience. We were a batch of 37. 27 of them came from an engineering background. So that was quite what I would say, a very and culturally very different. I mean, we had a whole bunch of people coming from the southern part of the country, eastern part of the country.
In the 1990s, IIFT became the first B school in India to offer specialized courses in international business.
Yeah, as far as why IB, I mean, you should be very clear about there's nothing called domestic business. All businesses are affected by global developments. All businesses are affected by global development, and understanding of that is required. It's not just the import-export. It's the understanding of the environment, business environment in which you work. अरे नहीं भैया, एक mindset चाहिए होता है, which cannot be created by 3-4 courses, which other schools do. They teach one course in international marketing, they teach one course in international finance, they teach one course in international trade operation and logistics. At worst, they teach one more course on international business strategy. That's it. So it's actually a vanilla MBA with the icing of 4 courses. And IIFT MBA is you cut the cake, and IB is in every element of the cake. And here, some of the courses which IIFT is offering, it's impossible for anybody to teach those courses. Regional and bilateral trade agreements. There's no textbook. Sectoral strategies for export. There's no textbook.
The dawn of the 1990s heralded a transformative era for India, marked by the sweeping liberalization, privatization, and globalization reforms of 1991. These reforms were a response to a severe economic crisis, characterized by a balance of payments deficit, high inflation, and a burgeoning fiscal deficit. The government, under the leadership of Prime Minister P.V. Narasimha Rao and Finance Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh, embarked on a bold journey to open up the Indian economy to global markets, reduce state control, and encourage private enterprise. The impact was profound. India's GDP, which stood at approximately $270 billion in 1991, surged to $2.9 trillion by 2020. Foreign direct investment inflows also saw a dramatic increase from a mere $97 million in 1991 to $82 billion in 2020 to 2021.
I feel IIFT is, from the time that we were there, they were obviously a course which was conceived in the times that it prevailed then, which was more about exports, documentations, regulations, understanding cross-border trade, cross-border finance, cross-border regulations. But as the economy grew, it opened up to marketing, consumer marketing, analytics, as you guys were talking. So the whole scope of that course curriculum changed to fit in with the growth in the economy, the growth in the corporate requirements, and the stakeholders that you were catering to. And I think the Institute has done well to stay tuned into what was happening in the world around us.
In this new economic landscape, the role of institutions like the Indian Institute of Foreign Trade became even more critical. IIFT was expected to be at the forefront of this transformation, providing the necessary training, research, and the expertise to support India's integration into the global economy.
Which were there were a whole lot of subjects on export documentation and the regulatory piece. Later on in life, we realized that those, just the familiarity with those terms, with those activities was a huge advantage in at least in my career, which was in the commodity space, agriculture, and of course international trade. All those things actually came back to say that I've heard it before, I know what it is, and that was certainly an advantage.
In 1993, at IIFT's landmark business conclave known as TradeWinds, brought together key figures in the realm of international trade and economics. The highlight of the event was the presence of Dr. Manmohan Singh, the then finance minister and one of the principal architects of the 1991 LPG reforms, as the chief guest. Dr. Singh's visit underscored the critical role that institutions like IIFT were expected to play in the post-reform era.
So, our founder, chairman, late Dr. H.D. Shorey, he was insisting on some place. So finally, this Qutub institutional area, this small plot was available. So these two buildings were constructed. One is the main academic block, other is the hostel block. But then in 98 or 99, about that time, we had a uh, official serving IAS officer, Mr. Reddy, who came as Director General, and he realized that the plot adjoining is still lying vacant, and he got it allotted to IIFT. And then he was able to get funds for the construction of buildings. So those two big buildings and one small building was constructed there. One is a house for the director or the vice chancellor, and one is academic building, another is that.
In 1996, the institute expanded to another edifice. The foundation stone for the academic block was laid by the 11th Prime Minister of India, Mr. H.D. Deve Gowda. A three-story new academic block got operational in 2002, boasting of 8 new classrooms, conference rooms, and multiple cabins, along with a computer center.
The history of VVIPs visiting is long. And I was looking through the visitors book once, which was kept outside the director office many years ago. I could see the Dalai Lama visited IIFT and addressed the students. I have myself witnessed Mr. Kailash Satyarthi, after getting the Nobel Prize, visited IIFT, and he was the chief guest for the convocation. I've seen many corporate heads as coming here and delivering the convocation address with Sam Pitroda, Raghuram Rajan, Mr. Narayan Murthy, and many others.
As a part of the fourth trimester, students visit a seaport to get a first-hand experience of the system. It helps students understand the application of the knowledge they have gained over the preceding 3 trimesters and relate it to the curriculum. Ports that students visited in 2023 were Dubai, Shanghai, Kuala Lumpur, Singapore, Kochi, Mumbai, Kolkata, Mundra, and Visakhapatnam.
So that was one, but the other was also, as I said, that my career was largely linked to global trade, and having been at IIFT, one had familiarity with a lot of things. I would smile when I would see people struggling with words like LCs and cash against documents and stuff like that, and which are part of our normal trade parlance, and everyone gets it. So it's just that when you start, do you start blank and learn on the job, or you come pre-informed? So I fortunately came pre-informed for some of those things.
IIFT Student Exchange Program is an outcome of the Institute's academic collaboration with some of the leading institutions across the world. The program helps the participant gain international exposure in a multicultural setting. IIFT also conducts customized programs around doing business in India for various international universities as well as corporate executives. IIFT has already conducted programs for universities in the United States, France, Germany, Netherlands, Finland, Russia, New Zealand, and the Philippines.
Me and one friend of mine, Sunit, was selected for this, and we took some, sponsorship from French embassy. He got a major part of it, and we went there. And over there, we used to select 2 majors. So we selected international marketing and trading. Although I had a finance background, but मैं बोला यार finance बहुत हो गया, अभी मैं कुछ और करता हूँ. So I did international business, trading, and marketing. So they had like more than 80 country students who they used to teach us, samjhana, badana. It was entirely different. More than that, in that stage, presentation, group discussion, they used to take us to that level. And not inside the institute. Even on Sunday, weekend, they used to ask us to meet over a bar, cafe, discuss and come out with a project. So ये बहुत फायदा किया यार, मतलब इतना हम लोग को समझ में आया, and fortunately I landed up into the same business of and it went good. To learn how to work with them, how they do business. There is a difference between, for you are foreigners, but there is a difference between American and European.
The Foreign Trade Library is a knowledge bank in the field of management, foreign trade, and WTO related issues. It boasts of 1,03,407 total resources, 76,422 books, CDs, and volumes, 17,581 bound periodicals, 255 periodicals, and journals. The library has also installed 12 Bloomberg terminals.
After we received a lot of training from IIFT, and they told us, you should specialize in a niche. Okay, in marketing, you have to do niche marketing. And I said, okay, out of these products, let's take agarbatti. It's got very poor packaging. And I actually made it into a project during the summer. There was a summer project that I had to submit, and I made it into a project that let us take this product and let us see what I can do with this packaging. And I went to Canada for my summer project for 2 months, and I collected so many samples of so many other packagings. Okay, and we completely redesigned, and it was with my colleagues. So a lot of the day scholars used to come back to me to the office of Delta Exports, and we used to sit down and we used to experiment. कि अच्छा इसको ऐसा करेंगे तो क्या होगा, इसको ऐसा करेंगे, and used to experiment. And very interesting that there was an exhibition, the EPCH, Export Promotion Council for Handicrafts. They did an exhibition in the Pragati Maidan in 1995, and I asked my father that you give me at least one panel where I will display some of the designs that I have printed out from a color printer. That was also a brand new technology at that time. And to his surprise, the entire export was like 12-14 lakhs. And can you believe how much orders I got? From that exhibition, I got 72 lakhs. So it was like the entire exports was 1 crore 25 lakhs, and I got an order for 72 lakhs. And then, of course, it was no looking back. And all it started from IIFT only.
And then on placements, at that point in time, the tradition was that whosoever had got placed in the same company in the previous year would take you or would take the candidates for the final round. And if you get placed in that organization, or let's say whosoever gets placed in that organization, the senior would give you anything of their choice to you. So for example, I still have a watch, or it could be earrings, or it could be a belt or a tie, which will be given to you from your senior in the same organization who got placed last year. So I got a wonderful watch, and that's more of an association that you build with the seniors at that point in time.
In 2002, the institute was recognized for its contribution to the country and was granted the status of deemed university by the Ministry of Human Resources Development. This enabled the institute to award degrees, start its own doctoral program, and also get higher acceptability and recognition in the internationally competitive academic milieu. IIFT has a rigorous selection process with more than approximately 70,000 students appearing for its Pan-India entrance exam. The student success ratio of less than 0.46% indicates the highly competitive environment to get into IIFT.
The eastern region is rather virgin. We have Calcutta, we have Bhubaneswar, XLRI, we have Shillong, maybe Jamshedpur, but beyond that, nothing. So, and the Chief Minister of West Bengal was very positive. So actually he allotted the land. And before we could announce the branch, the land was allotted to IIFT, free of cost. And actually the West Bengal government wrote to the center that we have put our share in the land, and now you put your share in the building and start.
Union Minister for Commerce and Industry, Mr. Kamal Nath said, IIFT Kolkata will fill the gap of a premier institute offering courses in international business management and trade in the part of the country catering to West Bengal, Orissa, Bihar, and the northeastern states.
So like I mentioned, we used to be a batch of only 100, and there were some undercurrents about having the need to increase the capacity of college in form of more number of students and maybe another campus. So that was the undercurrent, but we, at that point in time, we didn't know how it is going to span out and how the placements are going to be, because for one thing, you're very sure when you land at IIFT is that you are going to get a placement from here.
The campus spread over 7 acres of land, houses one academic block, an admin block each, and 2 residential blocks for students and visiting faculty. Be it the mystic beauty of the architectural design or the splendor of the campus in full bloom in winter, it never fails to impress the visitors.
So there was also a clarity which we had that whenever you go for a center, anytime you go for a center, the chances are you develop an inferior replica. Knowingly, you create an inferior replica. You look at All India Institute of Medical Sciences, Delhi. Not a single IIM is at that level. You look at the first generation IITs. So no IITs of their level. So the idea, and you know it, and you are creating an inferior replica knowingly. But why don't you create a center which becomes a jewel in the crown, which does something very different and unique? And you learn, you take advantage at the main campus of that scalability. And the students will go to that center to learn that specialized things and they come back. And Calcutta definitely has certain advantages. There are institutions from where you can take help. That's very important. Then corporate, Park Street. Many companies are headquartered even on parks still.
The Golden Jubilee Foundation Day was observed on May 2, 2013, and the then Honorable President of India, Shri Pranab Mukherjee, visited the campus.
We have a journal called Foreign Trade Review. So I got all the back issues from the first issue to the last, and I started looking through those back issues. We realized there is a wonderful paper written by Pranab Mukherjee as Finance Minister. There is a wonderful paper written by Manmohan Singh ji, as by very recently the wonderful person who passed away, Vivek Debroy, Bhaskar Lemme, Arthur Dunkel, and all those, Montek Singh Ahluwalia. And we came out with a compilation of classics which are topical. Even today the contents are relevant, which is FTR, the best of FTR kind of a thing. So when we approached the President of India, we carried the article written by Dr. Pranab Mukherjee and the summary of what we are planning to do. And the director took an appointment and he met the President. And the President agreed.
Perched atop a gentle hill on the serene campus of the Indian Institute of Foreign Trade stands a magnificent sculpture, the Wings of Wisdom. This iconic monument is a symbol of aspiration and global ambition.
So I didn't want it to look very cliche, did not want it to look as a temple. I wanted it to be an international piece of art. And yes, this was a very big opportunity for me to do figurative art with a lot of anatomy and details, which maybe a decade back was not so easily adapted and appreciated in that sense by the general public, because they were looking for more clothed kind of sculptures. But this is not a worship sculpture. This to me was very clear is going to be an inspirational sculpture. And then the mythology says that all the Upanishads and all the Vedas are under the wings of the Garuda.
The Wings of Wisdom were gifted to the Indian Institute of Foreign Trade Delhi campus by the then President of India, Shri Pranab Mukherjee. It stands tall in a pyramid of languages across the globe, a location where originally a water fountain stood, known popularly proverbially as the eye of the universe.
So the image has three things: the leap, the wings, and the book and the pen, which is a small symbol to it. So that is why I call it Wings of Wisdom.
Recognizing the contribution made by the Institute in the field of international business and foreign trade, the Department of Posts, Government of India, decided to bring out a stamp in the honor of the Institute. The stamp release function was organized at the Prime Minister Residence 7, Racecourse Road. The ceremony was also attended by distinguished guests like the then Minister of Commerce, Shri Anand Sharma and Mr. Kapil Sibal.
The postage stamp, we went to the Department of Post and requested the secretary, briefed her, requested her to release the ticket. And she said, my hands are full. We work a year in advance and you want us to work on 2-3 months notice. So then we requested her, is there a way out? And she said, there is, and that is you pay for the entire cost. She said that you need to pay about 2.5 lakhs and we will give you postage stamps worth 2.5 lakhs of IIFT. So in those times we were sending admit cards by speed post. So we thought, hamara to lag jana hai. We gave certain pictures to them and then they decided what to do. So they visited the campus and then they, whatever they decided, so we agree, we like, we don't like. But the fact is, no institution has a ticket on Golden Jubilee. It's actually on Diamond Jubilee or Centenary year.
From its humble beginnings in 1963, the Indian Institute of Foreign Trade has grown into a premier institution, renowned for its contributions to the international business education and research. The Institute's alumni includes a long list of eminent personalities who have made significant contributions to the field of trade, commerce, and international relations. Their achievements stand as a testament to the quality of education and training imparted at IIFT.
I've seen IIFT growing as far as the 2000 companies were not even looking at IIFT for placement. Ranking agencies were not looking at IIFT. They're looking, oh, ye kuch hai. It's not a business school.
See, IIFT, I'll just, kind of take you back to 2003-5 batch. At that point in time, IIFT used to be known as a premier institute for students who have keen interest in trading. And so multiple companies will come who wanted to take students into trading. And also, it was also an inflection point because India was still opening up and trade was gaining prominence. Multiple commodities were coming to highlight. Trade was evolving. Opportunities were increasing. So not only students, but mostly, companies who had keen interest in trade would look at IIFT.
I must say that I cannot think of achieving whatever the institute achieved without alums. So I just had a mail to KV Rao in Singapore. I sent him a mail that we need you to meet the AACSB team. Should I have a meeting with the Prime Minister of Singapore at the same time? I said, he said, can you reschedule it? I said, I can't. The schedule has come from AACSB headquarters. You can sneak out for 5 minutes and on priority, when you log in, we will ask them to ask whatever they want to ask you. And he did from the Prime Minister office. The institute has covered major landmarks, starting as a research arm of Ministry of Commerce, Government of India, to help the government to think in terms of what should be the policy formulation for the external sector. This continues even today with the various highly specialized centers we have, the Center for WTO Studies and many other such centers. And then we started the flagship program, a humble beginning in 85. 40 years ago, and we started this master's program in international business, which is now MBA International Business, and it's a AACSB accredited program.
Manu Sood, heading Airtel, he was heading an entire division of Airtel in Africa, handling multiple countries. When he was in India, he was handling multiple states. So, so what are these products coming from? They are coming from IIFT, and it's not only the academics. Yes, they teach you okay, what is exports, how it is done, how do you do marketing, what is organizational behavior. That of course is helpful. But apart from that, the entire environment where the students are interacting with each other, with the faculty, and other, you can say, non-academic, people skills, the non-academic skills that you are getting.
The institute has grown significantly, and its contribution to the society is enormous. It is a dynamic institute which continues to do experimentations. And our new experimentations are in Gift City, in Dubai, and new more programs like analytics and half a dozen online programs which we have commenced. And I'm sure the way in the past we have been successful, the institute will emerge a winner in the times to come.
As we reflect on the journey of IIFT, we see a story of resilience, innovation, and excellence. The institute has not only shaped the careers of countless individuals, but has also played a pivotal role in enhancing India's trade capabilities on a global stage. Today, IIFT continues to uphold its mission, fostering a new generation of leaders equipped to navigate the complexities of international business with a deep sense of responsibility towards society. The legacy of IIFT is one of unwavering commitment to excellence and a vision for a prosperous and globally integrated India.